Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we are going to be doing some Christmas DIYs and decorating, so let's just go ahead and get started on the projects. I thrifted this canister and I really love the shape of it. It kind of looks like a bell and I love the glossy white. However, I do not like the image on it. So I am going to be covering that up. I'm going to be using IOD air dry clay and the IOD olive crest mold. This is definitely one of my favorite molds and I love the little label, the one that I'm going to be using. However, it's actually smaller than the image that I want to cover. So how I'm going to fix that is, as you can see, I added a lot of clay in the center. It's kind of, coming out right there. So I'm going to take my mold out, and since I have all that extra clay in the center, I'm going to start to reshape it and kind of pull it apart and make it bigger. Now, I'm not touching the edges where all the detail is. I'm just pulling on the center where I added that extra clay, and I'm just going to keep pulling on it until it is the exact size that I need to cover the image on this canister. I'm just going to use some Gorilla Glue to attach my new label and put it on top of the old one. Now, while my clay is still wet, I'm going to take the IOD typesetting stamp. They have the number 6 in here, and I use it a lot because there are 6 people in my family. So you can use the stamps, to put some ink on it and stamp a piece, but you can also use the stamps to make an impression in your clay. So I'm just pushing in the number 6 into the clay, and it's going to leave a beautiful number 6 impression. And I just love the vintage look you get when you use this technique. I don't mind the white on white, but this is a Christmas video, so I'm going to be using Fusion paint in the color Highlander. I have been loving this color for Christmas. It's this deep rich red and it's beautiful. Now I am painting it after the label has been glued on and dried. However, you could definitely go ahead and paint it before you apply it. That might be a little bit easier, but I didn't have any trouble, and the canvas is very slick. So if I got a little bit on, the canister's slick, so if I got a little bit on the canister, it was very easy to wipe off. I'm just using the pointed sash paintbrush, and it makes it really easy to get all the details and the edges. And of course, all of the materials and paint and products that I'm using on today's video is available on my website, juliesdesignsandscience.com. So I'm going to put 2 coats of paint on here, and then I'm going to white wax it. I love using white wax with the molds because it really brings out all of the details. So you just apply your white wax, you take a paper towel, and then you wipe it off. How much you wipe off is up to you. It just depends on the look you're going for. On this piece, I wiped off a lot because I wanted my white wax to just be in the details, and I wanted to make sure that beautiful red color was definitely showing. For this project, I'm going to be using IOD's Cozy Stamp. It is one of their limited releases from their holiday collection this year, and I want to show y'all the back because they used it on gifts that are wrapped in craft paper, and then they stamped them with the Cozy Stamp. I think that came out so great. I love that idea, so I just wanted to share it with y'all. I'm actually going to be stamping a tea towel. I have these tea towels available on my website. They have this beautiful, just simple red stripe, and they are perfect to decorate with for Christmas. The thing I love about the Cozy Stamp is some of the stamps have this pattern on it that makes it look like it is knitted, and y'all gonna see in a minute. So I'm using 2 of the reindeer, and I decided to also add a little heart. I'm using IOD ink in the color tomato, and it matches perfectly with the stripes that are already on this tea towel. Look at that. Y'all see the pattern on there? I love the way that that came out, and I decided to go ahead and add 2 more hearts to this. This was a very quick and easy project and such a fun way to add some embellishment to an item that is a little plain. So I'm definitely going to be using IOD's Idea and stamping my Christmas presents. I always wrap them with craft paper, so I think it would be fun to get the kids involved and stamp some presents. Once your ink is dry, you can heat set it with an iron. That way when you wash it, the ink does not come off. I see these little planters all the time at the thrift store and I love them. It's like a little apple basket cut in half, but I do think they look a little bit weird hanging on the wall by themselves. So I'm going to give this basket a background. I am using a board that I had on hand, but I also think it would look great if you had some cabinet doors in your stash, maybe with a border already around them or on a shutter. That would look really cute as well. So just look around, see what you have that you can attach one of these baskets that I find all the time at the thrift store. I'm going to be painting it with the Fusion paint in the color Highlander. I'm going to do 2 coats of paint on here, and I already painted the board. I used Fusion paint in the color Raw Silk, which is a very beautiful warm white color. And I think it pairs really nicely with the Highlander. So now I'm going to add a little hanger to the back of my board. Before I attached the planter on there, I'm just using ribbon I had on hand and my staple gun to attach it. Now my original plan was actually to white wax this, but once I had the paint on there, you could still see a ton of details from the basket, and I really like the way that looks, so I decided not to white wax it, but that is definitely an option. And to attach it, I'm just using my nail gun because everything is wood here, and that was quick, simple, and easy. Alright guys, spoiler alert, this is my favorite project in this video. I love how these came out and I had so much fun doing them. So this is actually resin castings of 2 of the IOD frames molds. It's frame 1 and frame 2, and I do have these resin castings available on my website, but I also have both molds available if you just want to buy the molds and make your own. I use these molds all the time. I love them. And I'm also going to be using the Jamie Ray Vintage decoupage paper. I think this one's called Advent Calendar, and I got it from my friend Jackie at Ruth and Ruby, and of course I'll have a link to everything in the description below. It has 24 different kind of vintage looking Christmas images, so I'm just going around and cutting out a few that I think would work for this project. Now the frames are already white, so they are a great base and you can definitely leave them as is. Shocking, I know that I'm not leaving them white, but I decided to add some antiquing wax. But y'all, these frames have so much detail. The antiquing wax definitely took a while. So you put it on and then you kind of wipe it off. I do love the way that it looked in the end. It kind of almost looked like wood, but a quicker way would just be to dry brush on some detail like the antiquing wax, or even I think gold would look good. So I just want to let y'all know that this process was a little bit time consuming. So if you want something quicker, just dry brush on a color to bring on all that detail and to really make it pop, or you could just leave them white if you wanted. So they are done and they are dry, and I think they are beautiful. I definitely feel like the antiquing wax was worth the extra time. Now I'm going to use Fusion's decoupage transfer gel to put the decoupage paper on. Now I just want it on the center part of the frame, so that's the only place I'm going to add the decoupage medium, and then I'm going to put the paper on. And then guys, you want to let it dry. Don't worry about it, you know, being too big. That's why you put the decoupage paper medium exactly where you want the paper to be. So then you apply your paper and let it dry. And I'm just kind of using my fingernail here just to go around the edges, so I kind of know where the frame ends. This frame does not have anything in the center, so I just cut out a piece of white cardboard. I'm going to apply my decoupage medium, and then I took one of the images that would fit perfectly in this frame. I really loved the Noel one, and I'm going to put my paper down, and then I'm going to apply the decoupage medium over it, and then this piece will be all sealed up, ready to go. And I'm just going to use some hot glue and hot glue it to the back of this frame. Once my frames are all dry, I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and just go along that edge that I had made with my fingernail. The reason you want to make sure that your paper is fully dry is because this will make a nice clean cut. If your decoupage medium is still wet, your page will rip and tear a little bit. Oh my gosh, y'all, look how good this looks. So once that step is done, I'm going to go back over it with the decoupage medium, and that will just seal this piece in and just make sure all those edges are glued down nicely. Like I said, I absolutely loved working on this project. It was fun to just sit down and have something to create. You know, I didn't have to go to my saw or get out any crazy tools. It was just nice and relaxing, and I absolutely just love the way that these came out. Now I want to add a red ribbon to the back. That way they will make the perfect Christmas ornaments, but you could definitely leave them as is if you just want to set them out like little picture frames around your house and in your little Christmas vignettes. I purchased this vintage sewing drawer at a garage sale for $1. It has a pretty bad paint job on it, but I definitely saw past that and saw the potential in this piece. I'm going to be using milk paint in the color Stockholm Green. If you have not used milk paint before, it comes in a powder form, and you mix half the powder with half water, and then you want to mix it up really good. It's definitely best to mix with an immersion blender. I just used a spoon because that's what I had on hand. I thought this would be a very pretty color for Christmas, and it is. However, I think this is a beautiful color for year-round. I love this color and the way that this piece came out. Now, this next step is personal preference, but when I am painting things with milk paint, I like to use a heat gun because it makes it dry immediately, causing, lots of texture. Say if you have a drip, it'll just dry that drip. And I think that gives it a very vintage look. It also helps the paint crackle. So if you apply heat to your milk paint, it'll usually crackle and chip a little bit more. And when you use milk paint on metal, it chips off a lot. So you'll see on the little metal handle and the little metal piece at the bottom that it really chips off a lot on there, and I absolutely love that look. I wanted to stress this piece a little bit more, so I'm going to take some 220 grit sandpaper and I'm just going to hit all the edges and bring back some of that natural wood. This little label on the side I felt like was a perfect opportunity to add a transfer or a stamp, but I wasn't sure what to put there. So if you have an idea, definitely leave me a comment below and let me know what I should put on here. Also, y'all see how much the metal is chipping? I love it. To seal this piece, I'm going to be using Fusion's hemp oil. I love using this product to seal my milk paint pieces. You just wipe it on or brush it on, and then you let it sit for about 30 minutes, and then I take a paper towel and I just wipe off all of the excess. And the thing I like about milk paint is that it has a very flat finish, and I feel like the hemp oil does as well. Of course, it's shiny right now, but once you wipe it back and you let it dry, it also has a very flat finish. This is very exciting for me. I have another product on my website that I designed. They are made out of drop cloth, of course, my favorite fabric to work with, but I wanted some long, skinny, primitive looking stockings, and these are 2 feet long. I have 3 different styles. One has frayed edges, one has a cute little frayed pocket, and the other one is just clean, simple lines. But I want to show y'all how to get an even more primitive look if you want one. I'm going to tea dye dry one of the stockings. So you just put your tea bags in some hot water and let them soak. You want to make sure you pull your tea bags out before you put your fabric in. That way they don't leave little stains on your fabric, and it doesn't take long. Just a couple minutes of soaking and then it'll be ready to go. You just wring it out and let it dry. And once it is dry, this is what it looks like. So y'all could see it compared to the drop cloth that I did not tea dye. It has a much darker look, a little bit of a dirty look that I personally love. Now, when I designed these stockings, you could definitely buy them for your whole family, but really in my head, I had these as decor pieces just hung on hooks throughout your house, and you would fill them with floral and tea towels and, you know, cute little Christmas greenery. So I want to go ahead and embellish them. So for this one, I'm going to be adding a stamp to the pocket, and the little one with the pocket is definitely my favorite stocking. I think it is adorable. I'm taking the number 6 from the typesetting stamp and 2 little pieces from the Alpha Belly stamp. If you've been watching my channel, I have used this stamp combination many times. There are 6 people in my family, and lots of things in my house has this particular stamp. And I'm going with black because I feel like that is a more primitive look, black ink instead of red ink. Oh my gosh, y'all, I am obsessed. It is so exciting to watch my visions come to life. The next stocking we are going to stamp with the crockery stamp. This is one of my favorite stamps. It just looks great on everything. It is the perfect embellishment. If you do not have the stamp, you definitely should get it. I'm going to put the stamp about 6 inches below the top. That way if I have greenery or tea towel or whatever I decide to decorate with hanging over the top, it will not cover up the stamp. I decided to embellish it with this stamp, but you could definitely stamp a name or Merry or Christmas or whatever you want, or you could just leave it plain. I designed these stockings to look great on their own, but also left room for lots of embellishments. Of course, I love these stockings, and it has been very exciting seeing some of my visions come to life, but y'all let me know what y'all think. When you are out thrifting, definitely be on the lookout for these little woven handbags with leather handles. They look so adorable as pieces of decor. I just hang them on hooks around my house, and you can add greenery for whatever holiday it is. Or somebody even suggested you could put your mail in it. I think that is a great idea because currently all my mail is just out on my kitchen counter, and it would look much cuter in a little bag like this. This is the one I have in my master, and I just change out the greenery. I love it. Well guys, that is the end of this video, but I truly hope that y'all enjoyed it and were inspired. Definitely leave me a comment below and let me know what was your favorite project that I created today. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all in the next video.